Hello and welcome. My name is Paul Boyer, and I'm a seminarian for the Archdiocese of Philadelphia. I'm joined here in studio today by some of my fellow seminarians, as well as Father Tom Gardner, Lauren Nigro, and Chris Anderson. And we are glad to welcome you to getting to know the Archdiocese of Philadelphia, particularly the Westchester University Newman Center. Father Tom is a priest of the Archdiocese of Philadelphia. He was ordained in 2010 by Cardinal Rogali and was assigned to the Newman Center in 2014. Lauren is a senior at Westchester University. She is studying health and physical education, and she holds the service chair at Westchester. And Chris is a recent graduate of Westchester, currently studying at the University of Dallas with his graduate studies. So Father Tom, I guess we'll start with you. What is the Newman Center?
Well, thanks, Paul, and I'm excited that we're part of the initial episode for getting to know the diocese, because I think a lot of people are not really aware of what the Newman Center is, or that the Newman Center is even something that is available to people. So basically, the Newman Center is the Catholic Church for the students at Westchester University. So Westchester, the town, has a very well-known parish, St. Agnes, right in the center of town, that serves the local population. But we have a campus of about 17,000 students, and a good percentage of those students are Catholic at the university. So we actually have a building just about a block below the main campus that is owned by the Archdiocese. It's called the Newman Center after John Henry Newman, and we're open pretty much throughout the week for students, as well as on Sundays for Sunday Mass.
Sure. Beautiful. And maybe for maybe Lauren or Chris could answer this one. How do you find the Newman Center? You know, you're a freshman, you come to college for the first time. There's a million things going on. How do you seek out the Newman Center? How does the Newman Center reach out to you?
Yeah, so I personally found the Newman Center. I went to Catholic high school in the Archdiocese, and my chaplain was good friends with Father Tom, so he kind of told me before I arrived, hey, there's a Newman Center, and you should check it out. But I think the biggest thing that we have, the first Sunday of the semester is an opening barbecue, but the days before the opening barbecue, we'll do a lot of outreach on campus. We have focused missionaries on campus, and we'll go out and just do outreach of, hey, there's a Newman Center on campus, we're having an opening barbecue, telling them what we do, where we are, just to get people to come down. And then throughout the entire semester we'll do outreach to bring students down to the Newman Center.
Does Father Gardner cook for the barbecue?
It depends. You can find him on the grill sometimes, yeah.
I make hockey pucks. They're really very well done.
He makes the iced tea for it. We'll have some iced tea and we'll make it.
Nice 4C mix.
Yes.
And then so you're at the Newman Center, and what does a week look like at the Newman Center? What goes on?
So there's a lot that happens at the Newman Center throughout the week. So first of all, the sacraments, we have Mass every day at 4:30, and then we have a holy hour with adoration beforehand. Then Wednesday nights, we have really talented students, and one of our students leads a holy hour with praise and worship on Wednesday nights. Then throughout the entire week, we have Bible studies going on. And then every Thursday night, we have something called a dinner discussion, where we'll have food and bring in speakers or just have a discussion about the faith. So that happens every Thursday. And then there's Bible studies going throughout the week. But that's like what a typical week at Newman looks like for a student.
Glad Lauren answered that question, because that question really caught me off guard, and I thought, I'm not really sure what happened. Because every week looks a little different, but as Lauren mentioned, there are some things that happen on a consistent basis.
Yeah, that's definitely like the skeleton of it. But then there's things like that go off of it every week of like...
You can imagine with college students, there's really, you don't know from day to day what's coming down the pike, but there's a lot of things that happen on a weekly basis, and then there's some things that'll happen like once or twice a semester, bigger events that take a little bit more time to prepare. And so you have some things that happen from week to week, some things that'll happen maybe once or twice a semester, some things that'll happen once a year.
What's the biggest event you guys do?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, because in November 6th, we have probably the biggest event we have, which is our annual Friends of the Newman Center dinner, which is once a year. Usually in the fall. This year happens to be our 50th anniversary of the Newman Center. So November 6th, we're having a big dinner. We have a vigil mass at 5, and then we will follow that up with a dinner. So we usually get about somewhere between 80 and 100 people at these events. This would be something that's not just for students, but for like alumni, people in the area who like to support our center. So that's coming up, the 50th anniversary celebration, which we do a big event every year. This year happens to take on a little bit more significance with the anniversary.
But I think for the biggest student-run thing would definitely be the Thanksgiving food drive,
That's
and
a
then
good point.
the retreats that we put on.
Yeah.
Get a pretty good turnout.
So in terms of the the Thanksgiving food drive, you're the service chair at the Newman Center. What kind of how does that take place in the context of a college campus where things are going on, people are busy?
Yeah, so the main service outreach that we have would be pre-COVID, the Hickman. We take people to a retirement home in town to do a Bible study. Father Tom would take a group of students every week, and then students would also go up to St. Agnes, their day room, kind of like a food pantry thing. And then the Thanksgiving food drive. I think last year we fed there's 100 families around that.
We get the neighbors to donate the food. So what happens is we'll drop off a grocery bag with instructions at everybody's door. So the nice thing about Westchester's campus is that it's located in a pretty residential area. You have the campus and then you have the town. And so within walking distance there's hundreds and hundreds of homes. So we can drop those bags off with instructions, and people really respond. And like Lauren said, I think it may have been more than 100 actually, bags that we kind of have to take everything that's been donated, sift through it, make sure that it hasn't expired, and then put the various things that would go into a Thanksgiving dinner together, and then we send them off to the appropriate charities.
Beautiful.
A lot of expired food.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
The volume, the quantity of expired food is not that great, but when you find something that is expired, it's very expired. We usually find things that have been, from maybe the 90s or something, that was the last time it was actually edible.
Old.
So it's very important to sift through everything.
Or people just put random stuff from their pantry into it.
We got some vitamins last year, so and just any random non-Thanksgiving related foods, but it's like a treasure hunt. It's kind of fun.
Anything you can find. So in terms of you have yourself, student leaders, and then in the spring of 2017, Focus Missionaries came to Westchester University, the Fellowship of Catholic University Students, who sends missionaries to different college campuses to run small groups, to evangelize. What does something like that look like at your center?
Yeah, so Focus, Fellowship of Catholic University Students, it's a national organization, and actually they're on campuses now in places like Ireland and England as well. So we work in collaboration with Focus. They send, we have 5 Focus missionaries on our campus, and they are recent college graduates who are there to sort of launch small group Bible studies. They're there to kind of do outreach on campus to reach the students who are not aware that the Newman Center is there. And they are there to kind of lead the students who are already involved in growing in their faith, so that those students are equipped to run their own Bible studies and sort of share the faith on campus in the classroom. So they sort of are ancillary. They add to what we already do at the Newman Center, what the Newman Center is already doing. They're there to kind of complement the work that's already being done. And so we've now been working with them for 4 or 5 years now at this point, and I see a lot of growth as a result.
Excellent. And I think everything you've said has kind of stressed the idea that this Christian life can't be lived alone. That's why the Newman Center is there. That's why we have one another. So I think, to Lauren and Chris, how has the Newman Center at Westchester formed you as a Catholic?
Yeah, definitely. It's just living in that community. I think that's one of the biggest things that people don't realize when they get involved. First, they're like, oh, it's just a church building. You go there, you go to mass, you leave. Spend so much of my time at Westchester, and now I'm working there this year as part of my graduate studies at the University of Dallas. just like getting to know that community, and just being able to like walk in your faith like with other people that are your age, that just the college culture and like outside of Newman Center is not always most in line with the church. So just like being able to meet those people and to grow with them and to like kind of work to bring that experience, that joy that you find like to the rest of the campus and to the students that are not yet involved in Newman, I think is one of the biggest blessings.
Yeah, I think for me, you can't fall in love with Jesus without a community. Like, you need people beside you to like live the Christian life with. And I think the Newman Center's been the place where I've like met the people that have like walked with me and like helped me to fall in love with Jesus more. And like Father Tom, like having a full-time chaplain there is like such a game changer of like his priesthood, the way it's like saved my life. And like the friends that I've met there and like the accessibility through the sacraments is absolutely incredible. And like all those things have been, to me, what's like been the launch point for me to like fall in love with Jesus and like come to know who he is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then Father, to I'm sure when you were here at St. Charles, perhaps you didn't imagine that you'd spend years of your priesthood on a college campus. So how has that shaped you? What does that mean to your priesthood?
Yeah, it's a great question and a great point. Like in seminary, I went through years of formation, and they talked about those spiritual, human, intellectual, pastoral areas of formation. And I gained so much information up here in my head, and then sort of adjusting from seminary into a parish was a pretty challenging situation to take all of that formation and to apply it and just kind of get the mechanics of celebrating the Mass, administering the sacraments. I gained a whole lot of experience of administering the sacraments in the parish, but coming to the Newman Center really continued my formation as a priest in all of those spiritual, human, intellectual, pastoral, all of those areas, because I had to take what was in my head and actually sort of live that out. Suddenly coming into a community that is looking to you for your leadership and priesthood, and really is relying on you to be an example and a leader, and you're kind of experiencing daily life with these people. It really took me out of myself and started to focus on other people. Whereas I was so focused on myself, I think the experience of being at the Newman Center has helped me begin to start looking at other people and focusing on them and what they need.
Beautiful. And then I think just as we prepare to wrap up, if you could give just a couple sentences to the people who's watching who may have never heard of a Newman Center or might want to join their own Newman Center. What does the Newman Center mean to you?
Yeah, I think especially in college, there's a lot of voices being thrown at you of like who to be and like what to do with your life, and like the voices like take you in a million different directions. But I think the Newman Center for me has just like been like a refuge and an anchor for me, reminding me like what's most important in life, and like my relationship with Jesus like must come first, and like everything else like is a branch from that. But I think for me, like the Newman Center is a place that is like, especially at Westchester, like set me up on like a really good trajectory for the rest of my life.
Definitely. Yeah, I definitely would say like just the joy of living in like a Christian community. Like we're like walking with the same people like for a number of years, like every day, and just like seeing your own personal growth and then like seeing the growth of other people, and like having everybody help each other out in their faith journey, because it's not easy being like faithfully Catholic on a college campus today, especially when you're attending like a public university, and just having that space to grow in your faith and to live in that joy of community and to invite other people into that community, I think has been awesome.
And you mentioned, Paul, that maybe somebody is thinking about joining a Newman Center at their own campus. And one thing that I've experienced is that the Newman Center community is so blessed when new people get involved, and that actually is really necessary for the life of the Newman Center. Just like anything, we can quickly get into like a clique mentality or a herd mentality, and you can become complacent unless new people keep getting involved and bringing in fresh perspectives. So it's always a blessing when a new person or new group of people sort of become involved in a Newman community. So if there's any group like that on your campus, I would encourage people to seek it out and to get involved, even if it doesn't go smoothly at the beginning. I've seen a lot of people who were sort of felt like outsiders at first and then become like part of the fabric of the community. So hopefully we're always outwardly focused, and that's what we hope to be. And hopefully people can find a community like that on campus, because it's a great blessing for everybody.
You just gotta walk through the front door.
Right. That's the hardest part, is getting through the front door, and then after that, it's much easier.
If you had one experience you want to say is your favorite in the Newman Center, what would it be?
Oh gosh, that's a really good question. Every year we go down to DC for a little service trip to this monastery to work at the Garden Guild, and just like imagine Father Tom driving a 15-passenger van with a bunch of college students. Like, it's absolutely hysterical. Just like
I'm a very good driver. I was gonna say,
yeah.
Stay off the road.
Yeah, but just like to come away like in the middle of a busy semester and just like go down to DC and like live in the community and like spend some time in prayer and like work and like hanging out with each other. Like the past 2 years of doing that has been absolutely incredible.
How about you, Chris?
Yeah, definitely. Just like those random like experiences that might not even be planned, but just like, you know, like hanging out late with like the friends, like after after a retreat, like if we're at Mountain Retreat House for our spring retreat, or just like, you know, like getting to know people like better on a more personal level. It's like hearing the stories, whether it's 2 or 3 in the morning, everyone's like exhausted, but just like still laughing and like having that joy of living in like that Christian community. It's just been awesome.
Beautiful. Well, Father Tom, Lauren, Chris, we are so very grateful that you came for our pilot episode to tell us a little bit about Westchester's Newman Center, and we're very grateful to you for watching. Join us next time as we continue to discuss the people, the places, and the events of the Archdiocese of Philadelphia.